Digit temperatures coming up in your forecast.
I looked over, then I heard the window pop. Pow!
A fire at a Huntsville apartment complex. Now it had one resident running for his life. And as Waay 31's Jillian Kay explains, several more searching for what's next. And Israel and Hezbollah unleashed attacks on each other this weekend. How the tension continues to rise and what the U.S. is doing in response. Thanks for watching Waay 31 News at 10. I'm Jim Abbott in for Rob Sneed. Tonight, we're learning more about a Huntsville apartment fire that's displaced at least 2 people. Waay 31 reporter Jillian Kay rushed to Blue Spring Road this afternoon. She has more on what happened and what some folks will do next.
I watched crew after crew respond to a fire at Biltmore Place Apartments on Blue Spring Road. Residents I spoke with there tell me that they were both shocked and devastated.
I looked over, then I heard the window pop. Pow!
When Walter Page heard that, he ran for his life.
When I went out the door, that's when I saw all the smoke, and I ran down the steps.
The apartment below his caught fire Sunday afternoon, taking his with it.
Everything I had in there is gone, so I'm gonna have to start all over again.
Page just moved in 3 months ago. He lived at Biltmore Place Apartments on Blue Spring Road. He'd just gotten a job and says he was starting to get back on his feet. But now,
I can't even use my credit card to go buy me nothing to eat or anything because everything, I guess, is burnt up now. I got to figure out how to get car keys for my car. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna do right now.
He's lost everything, has no place to go, and is forced to start over. Authorities have not yet said anything about what might have caused this fire. But the woman who says she owns the apartment where the fire allegedly started suspects foul play.
You're gonna see when I come back home.
She asked to remain anonymous for safety reasons, but that's what this woman says someone she knew told her before she left her apartment for the day. She later came home to smoke.
And sure enough, what's my apartment?
She says that someone she knew might have set the fire to get back at her. But again, authorities have not confirmed her story. And as Page works on next steps, he's thankful to still be alive.
Could have been worse, so I'm just glad I was up and aware.
Don Webster with Hempsey says a few paramedics got overheated while trying to help firefighters, but he says overall that no one was hurt. We're still trying to get more information from Huntsville Fire and Rescue about how exactly this fire started. We'll keep you updated both here and online at waytv.com. I'm in the newsroom with coverage you can count on. Jillian Kay, Waay 31 News.
Officials identified a Franklin County man killed in a multiple vehicle wreck in Colbert County. The wreck happened Friday on Highway 43 and Ligon Springs Road in Littlefield. The Colbert County coroner says 77-year-old Larry Talbot was pronounced dead at the scene. Stay with Waay 31 News as we work to find out more information in this developing story. And in Coleman County, state troopers are investigating a wreck that took the life of a Vinemont woman. The wreck happened yesterday around 6:30 p.m. Traffic on I-65 was closed for several hours while emergency crews responded to the scene. Troopers say 21-year-old Mira Chafin was killed when her car left the roadway and struck a ditch. A passenger riding in the car was also injured, along with the driver of another vehicle. Troopers say Chafin and her passenger were not wearing seatbelts. The wreck remains under investigation. Well, it's been a great weekend out there, but those warm temperatures about to climb even higher. Waay 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle joins us now live in the Weather Center. And Jeff, how hot is this week looking?
Well, Jim, unfortunately, it looks like we are not done with triple digits for the summer. They are coming back. Hard to believe. Last week had that little hint of fall out there. Officially still summer, and we will be reminded of that this week. These are forecast highs by Wednesday, and you can see a handful of spots here in North Alabama will likely hit the 100-degree mark, maybe a little bit hotter than that. And even if you're not at 100, you're still going to be pretty high up there into the upper 90s. I'll have a closer look at the heats, more importantly, how long it's going to stick around coming up in your forecast in just a few minutes. Outside right now, though, not bad. Already in the 60s there in Pulaski, Tennessee, as well as Fort Payne, Gadsden, Coleman, everyone else somewhere in the low and the mid 70s. So feels decent, and we'll continue to see the temperatures drop off through tomorrow morning. Stepping out on your Monday, it'll be fairly comfortable, at least early in the day. Right now, things are also quiet. Waay 31 triple Doppler still looking at all clear conditions. Probably going to be towards the end of the work week and into that Labor Day weekend before we'll start to see some rain back on the radar again. Live view outside right now with our Thompson Roofing and Construction Skycam network looking from Calhoun across 565 to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. And again, all quiet on the roadways this evening. Out the door at the bus stop, kids will feel good early. 67, sunny skies to begin. Coming home, they'll probably break a little bit of a sweat out there if they have to walk too far from the bus stop. 95 is where we'll be around mid-afternoon tomorrow, but still looking sunny and dry. I'll be back in just a few moments, again, tracking out that heat, and kind of as I alluded to, we'll also preview that Labor Day weekend forecast on the way in just a few minutes.
Remember, you can stay on top of the latest weather headlines anytime, anywhere. Just download our Way 31 weather app. It features our exclusive 31 triple Doppler. With it, you'll be able to get personalized alerts for your area. It's easy to get. Just scan the QR code on your screen. The app is available right now on all devices for free. A scam alert for people living in DeKalb County. There are reports of scammers calling and claiming to be with the sheriff's office. The callers say they have a bench warrant out for someone, and then they ask for money. The sheriff's office says they do not call in reference to warrants. If you have any questions about the scam, call the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office. Folks in Jackson County might have felt a little rumble late last night. The U.S. Geological Survey confirmed an earthquake near section just before midnight. The quake was a small one with a magnitude of 2.3. Most people don't feel quakes that are below 2.5. The earthquake had an epicenter about 2.5 miles below the surface. No damage was reported.
Coverage you can count on.
New information tonight on rising tensions in the Middle East. Israel and Hezbollah unleashed their heaviest exchange of fire this weekend after months of fighting. Explosions lit up the night skies over the Israel-Lebanon border and attacks from both sides. Here's ABC's Allison Cossack with the latest.
Israel and Hezbollah launching their largest attacks aimed at each other since the beginning of the war in Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying the IDF was ordered to launch the strikes as Hezbollah prepared an extensive and imminent attack on Israel. A U.S. official making it clear the United States was not involved in the Israeli strikes, but said the U.S. assisted the IDF in tracking incoming attacks. Hezbollah firing a barrage of missiles into northern Israel, saying it was in retaliation for Israeli strikes 3 weeks ago that killed its top military commander in Beirut. The Iranian-backed militia firing at least 320 rockets into Israeli territory. The Israeli military saying most of the targets were in northern and central Israel. Sources telling ABC News those targets were estimated to be intelligence bases and the headquarters of Israel's main spy agency Mossad, just north of Tel Aviv. Hezbollah's leader said their operation was completed and that they will wait and see if more action is needed. Amid the rising tensions, the Pentagon has ordered 2 aircraft carrier strike groups to remain in the region, while the U.S. Embassy in Beirut is telling citizens to prepare contingency plans and be prepared to shelter in place. Talks to secure a ceasefire have once again collapsed, Hamas saying it does not accept the latest deal because of new conditions added by Israel, including Netanyahu's insistence on an Israeli military presence in Gaza. Israel has not yet shared a response to Hamas regarding the deal. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
Starbucks CEO is taking an extra special way to get to work. Why, that's the reason some people are pretty angry. Summer's still here, and that means mosquitoes and what they carry. Now, how one state's responding to avoid the spread of a deadly disease.
Dry forecast continues for now, but we will be tracking some rain again heading into that Labor Day weekend. I'll have the details on the wet weather and how it may impact your plans coming up in your forecast.
Coverage you can count on. This is Way 31 News at 10 with Rob Sneed, meteorologist Amber Kulik, sports with Trevor Denton.
Residents in parts of Massachusetts are being urged to take steps to avoid being bitten by mosquitoes. The advice? Using bug repellents, wearing clothing that covers their arms and legs, and finishing up outdoor activities before dusk. It's all because of a rare but serious and potentially fatal disease that can affect people of all ages. ABC's Ike Ajaji has this report.
Several towns in Massachusetts are taking precautions to prevent the spread of eastern equine encephalitis, with the state health department saying 10 communities are currently under high or critical risk of the virus. State officials have announced plans to spray for mosquitoes in Plymouth and Worcester counties this week. On Friday, Plymouth began shutting down public parks and fields from dusk to dawn due to the high risk of EEE. Earlier this month, Massachusetts health officials announced the season's first human case, which was also the first case in the state since 2020, according to a press release. The CDC says eastern equine encephalitis virus is spread to people by a bite from an infected mosquito. Most cases occur in eastern or Gulf Coast states. There are no vaccines to prevent infection in humans and no treatments. The best way to reduce your risk is to prevent mosquito bites.
That includes getting rid of standing water that can be filling up in buckets, gutters, empty tires, and toys, and making sure that you're protecting yourself as you're walking outside. Given the fact that the climate is getting warmer, more and more mosquitoes are outside, so we have to make sure that we're mindful of that.
The CDC says most people infected don't experience symptoms, but approximately 30% of people who contract brain inflammation or encephalitis from the virus will die, and many who survive have ongoing neurologic problems. Symptoms can include fever, headache, vomiting, diarrhea, as well as seizures and drowsiness. So far this year, there have been 3 human cases of the virus reported by the CDC, the one in Massachusetts, as well as the one in New Jersey and another in Vermont. The highest number of human cases in the U.S. occurred back in 2019 when 38 were reported. Ike Ajaji, ABC News, New York.
Now, Waay 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle with 31 Triple Doppler.
Yeah, it's felt nice lately with the lower humidity, but I
Yes.
can't help but focus on those numbers, those temperatures going up.
They are going up. You know, we had some triple digits earlier in the summer. We had a good bit of rain in July. That kind of brought the temperatures down. We had that little hit of fall last week with those cooler mornings, but summer is still here, and we are going to be reminded of that. Let's talk about the overall weather setup and why it is getting hotter again. Well, in the summer season, we often talk about the pattern that involves the big blue H. That's high pressure in the mid to upper atmosphere. That's usually what is responsible for heat waves that we get here across the lower 48. Well, we've got that working in our direction. Recently, this has been kind of parked to the west. They've had record heat, parts of Texas here in recent days, triple digits into the middle of the country as well. Well, now all that is building in our direction. We are going to be getting hotter. Triple digits are going to be a possibility, especially by midweek when this area of high pressure will be kind of parked right on top of us. And then later into the week, the pattern will break down. This big dome of high pressure will kind of weaken and move on out. We'll see another one reestablish itself out over the Rocky Mountains, but we will get a change in the weather coming later this week and into the holiday weekend that will involve less heat and maybe a little more rainfall. So the good news is this is not going to be a prolonged thing that we're dealing with, but pretty much all week long it's going to be toasty. 91 is average, above it all week. 95 tomorrow, 98 on Tuesday, right around that 100-degree mark Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'll start to see the heat back down as we get that change in the overall pattern heading into the end of the week. We've already had 3 days where we've hit triple digits in Huntsville. That is actually the long-term average. We will not get to the records, by the way, nowhere close. So even if we do rack up a couple more days in the triple digits this week, we'll still be far off of what happened in the summer of 1925 when there were 30 days during that summer season in Huntsville where temperatures hit 100 or hotter. We remain quiet as well. The pattern has been dry here in recent days. It's been that way for the weekend. Good news if you had outdoor plans. But we could use a little bit of wet weather. As we talked about end of last week, drought conditions are starting to return and get a little bit worse here across the area. And when we get the update Thursday of this week, likely there will not be an improvement. In fact, probably a little bit worse. Right now, Waay 31 triple Doppler is quiet and dry and will stay that way. Future radar here this evening, tonight into tomorrow, showing mainly clear skies. Tomorrow morning, we'll wake up comfortable. You step out the door, it won't feel too bad. By the noon hour, though, different story. Already getting hot at lunchtime. Plenty of sun beating down on us tomorrow. And again, contributing to those hot temperatures for your Monday afternoon. Tuesday, pretty much more the same, 7 a.m. Tuesday morning will be clear. We head into Tuesday afternoon, plenty of sunshine and plenty of heat to go all the way around. Here's a look at your lows tonight. Again, not bad, 66 in Huntsville. We'll drop to 64 in the Shoals, 62 in Moulton tonight, same in Fayetteville, 64 waking up and stepping out in the morning in Scottsboro. From there, though, it is all up. Breeze will be light, mostly out of the east. Temperatures on a quick climb for the morning hours, 85 at 10, at 90 already at the lunch hour. And there we go. We'll spend pretty well all of tomorrow afternoon low in mid-90s, topping out maybe as hot as 98 in Muscle Shoals, 96 in Athens and Decatur, Huntsville around 95 tomorrow, Gunnersville to Fort Payne. Not quite as hot, but still toasty, running in the low 90s. Here's your Waay 31 Storm Tracker 10-day forecast. Numbers go up through midweek, 98 on Tuesday, right around 100 for those highs Wednesday, Thursday, just below the records for this time of year, by the way. Heading into the weekend, we get that change. Now, it'll still be a little hot, and it is going to get more humid at that point, so it'll be still uncomfortable, even if it's not quite as hot on the thermometers. Back into the low 90s for highs for the weekend, and we'll bring in at least some daily scattered shower and thunderstorm activity starting Friday, likely continuing into Labor Day as well. But right now, at this point in time, does not look like we're going to have a washout for the holiday weekend, but obviously something we'll keep a close watch on.
Excellent. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. Well, the new CEO at Starbucks is taking an expensive and unique way to get to work. Why his new mode of transportation is making some folks angry. Starbucks is giving its new CEO a private jet to commute to work, and not everyone is happy about it. The new CEO, Brian Niccol, takes the helm next month. He'll commute weekly from his home in California to the company's headquarters in Seattle by taking a private jet. That's according to his offer letter that was obtained last week. The job perk is drawing scrutiny due to the climate change implications of those flights. According to the International Energy Agency, both large commercial jets and small private ones are responsible for 800 million tons of carbon dioxide each year. The value meal wars are heating up. Fast food sticker shock everywhere, with new data showing prices up nearly 33% in the last 5 years.
To make a choice between, cooking at home or eating out at their favorite fast food restaurants. And so fast food restaurants now are trying to make it more affordable to decide to work with them.
Fast food giants McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, and Taco Bell have already launched their own value meal deals. And now Subway is joining the competition, hoping to lure some of those inflation-weary customers with a $6.99 footlong. The company says the steep discount is only for a limited time, though. Some locations are selling those sandwiches for double that price.
SEC report, I'll give you a couple of key storylines to keep an eye on in week 1 of the college football season.
Now, Way 31 Sports with Trevor Denton.
What's up, North Alabama? From Ireland all the way to Hawaii, we were treated to a tasty appetizer of college football in week 0. Well, now it's time for the main course, and that includes a lot of juicy SEC storylines. We'll get to see Miami versus Florida in the debut of SEC on Waay 31. Call this one the Desperation Bowl, as both coaches try to avoid the hot seat. In our state, Alabama faces Western Kentucky, Auburn hosting Alabama A&M. Now, we're not likely to see a ton of intrigue on the scoreboard in these ones, but I am intrigued to see how a couple of freshman wide receivers perform under the bright lights. Ryan Williams has been getting a ton of buzz in Tuscaloosa, and Cam Coleman is drawing rave reviews on the Plains. We'll get to watch both make their college debuts on Saturday night. Finally, I can't wait to see 2 non-conference battles on neutral sites. How will Georgia handle Clemson in Atlanta, and how will LSU contain USC in Las Vegas on Sunday night? 2 SEC contenders getting tested right out of the gates. Pumped to see how that all plays out. Down in Montgomery, North Alabama opened its season against Southeast Missouri State yesterday. This was really a tale of 2 halves for the Lions as they went from up 15-7 to losing 37-15. Here's how it all happened. New quarterback Ari Patu looked a little hesitant with the football in his hands. The Stanford transfer only took a couple of shots down the field, and he finished with only 104 yards. The worst part is star receiver Takari Kennebrew caught 0 passes, 0. That just can't happen. Head coach Brett Dearman says he still believes in his QB and that Patu gives them a chance to win going forward. Also on offense, the Lions just seemed to get away from what was working. Running back Juice Allen rumbled for 88 yards in the first half. He got only 5 carries after the break. And finally, turnovers killed this team in the second half, setting up SEMO to run away with the victory late.
You got to go make it happen, and then when it does happen, you start to believe it even more. I think our guys know they can compete with anybody in the country. They just got to believe that when you do have that halftime lead, that you're going to secure the win. So it's just us staying on them, us just continuing to preach, battling adversity, turning the page.
For UNA in week 1 as they'll face Memphis, a very trendy pick to make the 12-team playoff. Like North Alabama, the Trash Pandas also visiting Montgomery this week. They closed the series on a high note, beating the Biscuits 6-1. The team's ace, Caden Dana, threw a gem of a game, allowing just the 1 score and punching out 7. The team back at Toyota this week to face the Tennessee Smokies, who've gone a stellar 74-45 this season. Let's get you over to a goal fest north of the border. Huntsville City FC taking on Toronto 2. Opening minutes of this one, Toronto gets way too relaxed with the ball, and HCFC seizes on the opportunity. Adam Seepish nets it before fans can even get their tickets scanned, but Toronto ties it up. And then at the end of the first half, they steal the lead with the header by Julian Altobelli. So HCFC with some work to do out of the break, and they come out with a frenetic pace. Lubens Passius all alone on the wing, and he does the rest all by himself. A filthy goal to tie things up in the 6th. Earlier in the season, HCFC might have been content with the draw. That's not the case under new head coach Chris O'Neill. They apply the pressure in the 82nd minute, and Toronto can't handle the Southern heat. Tristan Tropiano scores as a sub in his first professional game as Huntsville wins their 3rd match in a row. That's their longest streak of the season. Huntsville native Stuart Sink has accomplished just about everything you can on a golf course, winning 8 PGA Tour events and, of course, a major in 2009. Well, today, Sink achieved yet another feat, winning his first event on the Champions Tour. He clinched the win with a 66 in round 3 at the Ally Challenge in Michigan. We'll be right back.
Well, it feels nice right now, but that heat, it's coming back.
It is, yeah. We're talking right around 100 degrees by the middle of the week. Temperatures on the way up. We're going to wrap up August on a very hot note. Again, right around 100 Wednesday, Thursday. Those will be the two hottest days before some relief comes for the weekend.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for watching Waay 31 News at 10, and stay tuned. Law Call is next.
This is Waay 31 Law Call.
Good evening and welcome to Waay 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviat. Tonight we're talking all about injuries. That's everything from car accidents to maybe you've been injured by taking a medication that was wrongly given to you. Pharmacy messed up and you took medicine you shouldn't have been taking. Maybe a family member's been hurt through nursing home negligence. Call in your questions, the 31 Law Call number 256-536-0077. You can also now text to that same number. So if you've got a question you're a little shy about going on the air and asking it, text your question to us, 256-536-0077. We'll also talk about dealing with insurance companies like filing a claim. What's the difference between filing a claim with your insurance company and actually bringing a lawsuit? Do you need to talk to a lawyer before you do either one of those? Call in. You can also email questions. You send it to lawcall@waytv.com. And when we get to a show that's on point, we have some of those. We've got some of your email questions tonight. We've also got Heath Brooks and Bobby Marsh from Timberlake League and Brooks here to answer questions.
Right. Yeah.
Y'all do these all day, every day, right?
We do all day long, answer questions on the phone. Happy to do it.
Car accidents, medical malpractice, personal injury kind of things.
Anything like that. Yep.
So while we get your calls locked in, we've got a little video for you. We like to pull something off YouTube every week, and we show you. You make the law call with this clip. So if you're driving along crowded highways, a lot going on, this is an icy road. Look at this coming from the other side.
Oh, no.
This driver's so lucky to have avoided that. You can draw your attention away from anything at any time. When you're looking at something like that, an 18-wheeler accident, what are you looking at as far as whether somebody is at fault? It's snowy and icy, things happen.
You know, you got to drive that is safe for the condition.
Okay.
That's on the road at the time. You know, this one looks like something's going on the other side of the road. These people are coming on. Looks like maybe somebody probably hit some ice. You know, if they probably were traveling a little too quick for the ice, you got to go slow when you're, as slow as the conditions allow. So when I'm looking at this and I'm looking at tractor trailer that is coming across the road there, I'm wondering, one, was he traveling too fast for conditions? And then two, did he maintain control of his vehicle?
Okay.
He didn't do it. And I think in this kind of scenario, when you lose control of your vehicle like that on a highway, you're gonna be tagged for that.
Okay.
And that's especially important in any vehicle, but especially a large semi-truck with all the weight and the speeds at which they travel.
That's exactly
especially
right.
dangerous. Whole different animal.
So if you were injured with something like that, do you need to be careful what lawyer you take it to? Because, I mean, an 18-wheeler accident may be a little different from just something happening on,
It's
the highway.
You're right. It's a whole different ballgame. When you get involved in any kind of commercial wreck, but particularly with a long-haul truck driver, short-haul truck driver, there are federal regulations that a lawyer just has to know. And a lot of those regulations govern how truck drivers drive their trucks. Was the truck driver medically cleared? As a tractor trailer driver, you have to have to keep your CDLs, your commercial driver's license. You have to have a medical exam every year to ensure that you can safely operate your truck. The other thing is, were you over your hours? Were you supposed to be driving? In other words, if you're a tractor trailer driver, you can only drive a certain amount of time within a given 6 days, 7 days, or even sometimes 2 days. So you got to be incredibly vigilant about how to get that information. And a lot of lawyers, have never handled a tractor trailer case. They might not know where to look.
Yeah.
And the important thing is where do you look?
Okay.
That's right. And especially just to echo Heath a little bit, the evidence is a little bit different in those cases. For instance, a lot of these trucks, they have different cameras on board that you want to get and make sure that they're preserved. That's why it's crucial you get an attorney who not only knows what they're doing, but who gets involved early enough to preserve that evidence.
That's right.
Okay. We've got callers waiting. We've got Gerald on the line. Gerald from Huntsville. Gerald, I understand you had a knee replacement and something has gone wrong with it. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hi, Gerald. Thanks for calling. What's going on with your knee replacement?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I had a knee replacement. Now, this has been years ago.
Okay.
I had a knee replacement. I was supposed to be getting a partial replacement. Okay, and the doctors had already checked everything. and I was supposed to be getting a partial knee replacement. So then I went and had that done, and I came from the hospital, and I was there for 4 days for joint camp. But anyway, when I left the hospital, my knee was bigger than it was after the surgery.
Okay. Are you thinking they did a total knee replacement instead, or surprised you with something?
Well, they did the partial knee first.
Okay.
So I got home, and every 2 or 3 days, my knee would get bigger.
Okay.
So I would go back to the hospital. I went to the emergency room, and they pulled fluid off my knee. So they did this 3 times a week for 3 months, and then they said my body was rejecting the partial knee.
Okay. All right.
So they was gonna have to do a full knee replacement.
So when something like that happens, I mean, is that a medical malpractice case? Is that something to do with that?
You know, it can be. I mean, there are times when, as a doctor, you have to perform a surgery within the standard of care of the medical community. And what that basically means is that you've got to perform a surgery like every other doctor would perform that procedure or that surgery in the rest of the country. And if you deviate from that standard of care, then you can be responsible for the injuries that you cause. In that kind of situation, if you have, a partial knee replacement and then your body rejects that actual device, which happens, and we call those, a fancy legal term is a known complication of that procedure, then you may have to do something else. What is a known complication?
A known complication is something that the doctors typically see when they perform this procedure. For instance, swelling could be a common situation depending on the specifics of the procedure they performed. I will say the important detail on this is that on a medical malpractice claim, you typically have 2 years. There are a few exceptions, but the rule generally is 2 years from the date of the alleged malpractice. So depending on when Gerald's procedure occurred, it may unfortunately be too late, but
and there's just one other consideration here, is that whenever you have a device put into your leg, we see these a lot with hips. There were the striker hips at one point in time, but those devices can sometimes be recalled. And your time limits for those devices can be longer than 2 years, because you may not be able to find them. And those cases can be filed in other jurisdictions all over the country.
How would Gerald know if he got a defective knee?
There should be a serial number in the medical records. It's required for the serial number to be provided in the medical records. You can get your medical records and see what you have.
Good luck with it, Gerald. We've got Ann on the line with a question from Athens. Ann, I understand that you have a friend in a nursing home that got injured. How did they get injured?
Well, they slammed a work cart against my back.
Oh, it's you. It's not just a friend got injured, it was you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Who slammed something again? And don't name names, of course, or the nursing homes, but a worker in the nursing home slammed a cart into your back?
Yes, she slapped me first. And then when I went to get a drink of water, she slammed this work cart into my back, and I can't hardly walk.
Slapped you? Did I understand you right? Slapped you first?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that can't be an accident.
No, and that's an intentional conduct. Okay. But in those kinds of situations, sometimes the nursing home can be responsible for the conduct of their employees.
Okay.
Particularly if you're not vetting your employees and ensuring that you have employees that are in place that are not going to react violently. But if you're hitting someone and you're striking someone, that goes beyond what we do in the civil world, and that goes into criminal conduct.
Okay.
You can't, that's assault. You can't strike someone, you can't hit someone intentionally, or else you could be criminally responsible for that.
Who does she go see about that? Who do you go to, a lawyer, or go to the DA's office, or go to the police?
All of the above.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. First things first is contact the police. Probably there's a social worker that is involved, and also contact the Alabama Department of Public Health.
Okay. All right. We got this text in. I said we can now get your text messages to the same number that you see on your screen. I was misdiagnosed with my illness and given the wrong treatment. What should I do to ensure that never happens again? I bet you guys are very cautious with your family members, telling them, here's how you talk to your doctor. Here, you take notes, you do whatever. How do you prevent something like that from happening?
What do you think, Bobby?
You know, main thing that we see a lot are people, it's very, very important that you advocate for yourself when you go to your doctor's office. You know, if you have common drug allergies or things that you're aware of, it could be helpful to have a drug allergy card that you present to them when you first meet with a doctor. Anything that you can do to speak up for yourself and let them know, hey, look, I've reacted to this, negatively in the past. I don't want to, be prescribed that or be given that again. Doctors have different prescriptions they can provide you in that situation, so it's just important to speak up.
Good. They're telling us to take a break. We're going to take a break. Be right back answering more of your questions all about injuries tonight. Stay with us.
You're watching Way 31 Law Call. Your rights, your calls, live. Presented by the Tennessee Valley's award-winning personal injury and wrongful death law firm, Timberlake, League & Brooks. Featuring the knowledge and experience of Attorney Michael Timberlake, Attorney Will League, Attorney Heath Brooks, Attorney William Maservi. And hosted by broadcaster and family law attorney Sharon Doviet. This is Way 31 Law Call.
Welcome back tonight. We're talking all about injuries. We've got with us Heath Brooks and Bobby Marsh, both from Timberlake League and Brooks. They do personal injury cases all the time. They also advocate for good fundraisers like this one for raising for money for the Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Program. What is this?
It's a great organization, the Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Organization, and what they do is they provide free legal services to folks who don't have enough resources to provide to pay a lawyer for those services. And this is a big fundraiser we have every year. It's on September the 2nd. There's a 5K, there's a 10K, and there's a 1 mile fun run for kids. Last year they had a couch run. You could donate, you could sit on your couch.
Just sit on your couch.
That's right.
Yeah, hope they're doing that one again.
And you still get the t-shirt even if you do the couch?
Yeah,
excellent.
you get the t-shirt.
That's the fun part. So good. Enjoy September
Great
the 2nd.
organization.
We were just talking with Ann before, and she was talking about abuse and saying that she had been abused in a nursing home. You wanted to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, and we've seen this from time to time in our practice. We do a lot of nursing home work, but we've seen it from time to time in our practice where we'll get a call from a family member and there'll be some sort of marks on their loved ones, or there'll be some indication that their loved one has been abused. And when you're in a situation and when you're in a nursing facility and you're relying upon people for your food, your clothing, your shelter, to help you with baths, to help you get from place to place, to communicate with you, then sometimes those same people who are supposed to be there to help you and you are relying upon also take advantage of you. And that's a form of abuse, and that's something we don't tolerate in any nursing facility, or really we shouldn't tolerate in our society. So this is a very serious situation when you've been assaulted in a nursing home, and it's something that both the district attorney, the police department need to know about. You call the police department. Tell your loved ones when they come to you and maybe you're scared, maybe you don't want to speak, maybe this person who's abusing you has told you if you tell someone they'll continue to hurt you. Tell your loved ones. Tell somebody. That takes a lot of bravery to do that, but we will not tolerate that in our facilities.
We got this text message in from Brenda and Leland. They were concerned about signing releases for children. They said they take their grandchildren to amusement parks, trampoline parks, and things like that. And oftentimes they want you to sign a waiver for your kids, your grandkids. Is that effective? If the child gets hurt, are the grandparents going to get sued, or what happens?
What you think, Bobby?
Well, so an important rule to keep in mind is that under Alabama law, a minor cannot sign a contract. So a lot of times there are different, I don't even want to use the word loopholes, but ways these contracts are not enforceable. These waivers are not. It's a common situation that we see a lot. Just think about how many waivers you sign in your daily life. Sports teams, trampoline parks, amusement parks, places you go. So there are different ways that these waivers are unenforceable. And like I said, kid can't sign a contract. So that's one way. There's some others.
They're pretty harsh, these waivers. We see them a lot, and a lot of times they'll, if you get hurt, say you walk into one of these water parks yourself and you're an adult and you've signed one of these contracts and you slip in some water and you fall and you break your neck. You have signed a waiver, and you as an adult have agreed to accept the services or wherever you're going, whether it's some trampoline park, whether it's a baseball field, or whatever the case may be. You can do that, and you get hurt, and even if the other side's negligent, you have waived your right to bring any kind of action against them. The difference is that when a parent signs a waiver for a child, because a child can't make that determination, and a parent can't make that determination for their child. So if you do sign a waiver and your child does get hurt because of the negligence of some other company, then it's something you probably need to contact a lawyer about.
But I bet that water park will tell you, oh, it's effective. You can't. It's over and done. And if you believe that, you've given up your right to do something about it. We got this text message in. Jan from Grant had written in, my mother has dementia. She fell after a stay in the hospital, and she was sent to a rehab facility. She was there 2 days, and her hearing aids came up missing. Well, we reported it. It turned out later it was found in the washing machine. You know how expensive these are. The folks at the place are saying it must have been just rolled up in the sheets or something. Is there anything that they can do about that? So that kind of property is very expensive.
Oh yeah, hearing aids, $7, $10. You can pay as much as you want for hearing aids. Thousands and thousands of dollars for hearing aids. And it is your loved one's property. So your loved one, they have dementia. Maybe there's somebody who has a power of attorney. It is possible for you to bring an action in district court, which is a court in the state of Alabama where you go to put your grievance in front of a judge. And your damages could be limited to $20,000, and you have a potential to bring a claim against the nursing home in case they won't give you the money for the hearing aids. The first thing, though, before you have to take that kind of drastic step, is contact the nursing home administrator. See if you can have a reasonable conversation with those people, that person, about whether or not they can pay you back for the hearing aids. And if they can't, then you may have to take that step. I don't know I don't know that after you put all the effort and all the time and all the expense into handling that case, whether it'll be worth your while, but you do have that option.
Okay. We got this email from Doug. Doug had written in, several months back, I was hit in the driver's side door by a woman that wasn't paying attention and ran through a red light. I've still got pain and discomfort, but after 2 MRIs, nothing shows up. Her insurance company has asked to see my medical records. Should I allow that? I'd like to settle and move on. What do you think?
So the answer is really, it depends. You may end up needing to reveal some of your medical information, especially if you're making a claim for medical bills and damages of that sort. But you don't want to just give the insurance company everything you have. You want to be selective with the information that you provide them. You're not trying to hide anything, but they don't need to see all of your medical history or all of your medical records that may or may not be related to your accident. So our advice would be to contact an attorney just to make sure, hey, vet everything out. It's always good to ask before you submit information to the insurance company, and that's what we're here for. We're glad to talk with you about that.
The one thing about that is that when you send your medical records to an insurance company, they're going to have you sign what's called a HIPAA authorization.
Okay.
And a HIPAA authorization just basically says, okay, insurance company, you have a right to look at my records, or you have a right to get my records. A lot of times when you sign that HIPAA authorization that's given to you by the insurance company, you agree to let the insurance company have all your past medical records. You agree to sometimes even let the insurance companies get your school records and your work records. So if you just do not contact a lawyer, you want to take care of it on your own, and an insurance company wants you to sign a HIPAA authorization, make sure that's all you're signing. Make sure you're not signing something that will allow this insurance company just to gather information to try to take away any kind of rights you have to compensation that you may be entitled to. Because I can tell you, if they can find it in your records or your work records, they're going to.
Okay. Talking about that, should you talk to the insurance company, or should you be very careful so not even related to this one? Let's talk about, you've had a car accident.
Right.
And you need to talk to your insurance company or the adjuster. Is that okay to talk to them?
I always say talk to a lawyer first.
Okay.
If you have a car wreck and you're injured, or even if you have a car wreck and you just have some questions about what's going on, I always say just talk to a lawyer. Most of the people who do my kind of work will talk to you and won't charge you a nickel, give you some advice about how you can move forward, particularly if this is just something you've never done before. And so it's always good to talk to somebody who's been through that and can give you at least some guidance. May not be a situation where you need a lawyer to represent you, but it can't hurt to ask.
What are they trying to get you to say then? What are they looking for?
They were trying to get you to say that you were traveling 56 in a 55-mile-an-hour zone, and maybe you contributed to your negligence, because in the state of Alabama, we have contributory negligence.
And we're the only state in the union with a law that's this strict. Most states, they have what's known as comparative negligence. But here, with contributory, if you contribute whatsoever, any percentage, even 1% at fault, if a jury finds you to be 1% at fault, you recover zero. You are legally barred from recovering anything. And that's why it is so important to not only understand what you're signing, but what you're saying as well, and what those words can get you into with the insurance company.
Interesting. Be careful. Okay. We got this email question from Todd. Todd says, I was wondering what the statute of limitations is for wrongful death. I was wondering because my mother-in-law died, and we just got her records after fighting with the insurance company, and it shows that they gave her way too much of a drug. It was actually Ativan, too close together, and she died 2 hours later. Okay, but he's worried about, has it been too long to do something about it?
Well, first off, you got 2 years.
Okay.
After the death of your mother, you got 2 years to file a lawsuit.
Okay.
If you don't file within 2 years, then you forever lost the opportunity to do so. In Tennessee, it's a year where I also practice law. But the important thing is that not only do you have a time limit, but a lot of times if you don't move forward with a situation where you think there was some wrongdoing, then evidence is like water. It evaporates. And so in this kind of scenario, you'd want to gather your medical records like you did, and then you want to talk to some of the people that actually were involved in the care of your mother. A lot of times that's going to take talking to an experienced lawyer who handles these types of cases, who can get the information that they need and really get to the bottom of how your mother was ultimately killed by these people.
Okay. We got this email question from Alicia. Alicia says, during football practice, my son's tooth was broken. While on the sidelines, one of the other players grabbed my son's face mask and yanked it, breaking my son's tooth in the process. The player admits to it. These actions were done without any provocation from my son. The parents refused to pay for my son's dental bills. Are the parents liable for this act? And what responsibility does the school have?
What do you think, Bobby?
Well, any claim involving a school is a little bit tricky, because under Alabama law, schools are entitled to immunity. Now, what that, so essentially it's very difficult to hold a school liable for a situation, especially something like this. That's why it's important to talk to a lawyer to see, what do I need to do in order to hold the school liable for what happened to my son? You may have a claim against the football coach, for example, maybe a negligent supervision claim, something along those lines. You could also have a claim against the parents if they were to know, or if they knew that their child could have acted this way, maybe something there.
Yeah.
But
and we've had situations where there have been sporting events or something occurred on school grounds from another student. And sometimes if in a football game or in any kind of athletic dangerous activity, you take the risk that you could get hurt. That's part of the game. However, in a situation where it's unprovoked and another student injures you, the homeowner's insurance of the parents may cover that injury. And we've had been successful there.
Homeowners insurance. Okay,
That's right.
We're going to take a break. Be right back answering more of your questions. Stay with us. If you haven't gotten your questions answered tonight, here's how to get in touch with Heath Brooks and Bobby Marsh with Timberlake League and Brooks. They are personal injury attorneys. The number 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. The website is law-injury.com. And if you like them on Facebook, you can learn more about the law that way.
And Sharon handles all things family law related, as child custody, divorces, and the like. She can be reached at 256-539-7337 or www.sharonfamilylaw.com.
It is so hot out this week, landlords have got some responsibility.
That's right. You know, we get calls this time when there's 100-degree heat out. Hey, look, my air conditioner's out. I can't get my landlord on the phone. You know, what do I do? And one of the things that you can do, is you need to call the Madison County Health Department quickly. But the other thing is a landlord in the state of Alabama has a responsibility to maintain the environment, your condo, your house, in a habitable environment. And what that means is they got to keep it cool. So call them if you need to.